I've rather arrogantly thought to myself, well, I've done everything now. I've done 10 years worth of voiceover training videos and probably covered just about every single topic you would think, 200 odd videos. And yet I still get people contacting me saying, I'd love to get into voiceovers. I've got no idea where to start. Please help. And I always think to myself, rather arrogantly, I have to say, well, surely you've watched one of my videos and surely you've dipped into that and read around the subject and surely you've got some idea. And I think it is a rather conceited view on my part that I think people naturally know how to get into voiceovers. And so the result is no, they don't. And well, a lot of people don't, and they've got absolutely no idea where to start. So this video really is for you. It's a kind of, don't hit the mic. That's rule number one. And this is a kind of introduction, new year, and me sort of going through old ground to a large extent, but is still relevant and will be relevant for 2021. So what are voiceovers all about? Where do you get into, or how do you get into voiceovers? Where do you start? And I suppose the number one thing is that you bear in mind three things. Number one is performance. Making sure that you sound fantastic. You give compelling auditions. You provide a great voice over, not necessarily a great voice, but a great voiceover on somebody else's words. And it's all about bringing words to life. So that's the first thing. Second thing is recording. You've got to be able to record from home. And if you think you can just go to a studio, well, you can't, even leaving aside the pandemic and so on. You know, the center of gravity has shifted. It's shifted to home recording. That's what we do now. And so you've got to get one of these things, a microphone, and you've got to have some sort of sound deadening, even if it's just old duvets and drapes and carpets and so on around the space. And that's to deaden the sound. And then the third element you've got to think about is actually promoting yourself. How are you going to get people, potential clients, to book you and pay you? Because that's your ultimate aim. So those are the three things, the three basics, if you like, of voiceovers. And in my book, you can't get anywhere without doing those three things. It's no good having a fantastic voice, being able to be a great performer, if you can't record from home. It's no good being able to record from home and get a wonderful sound, brilliant audio, if you don't promote yourself or don't market yourself or whatever, and run a business. So it's kind of all three of those things. So if you bear those three things in mind, that will give you a good basis for starting your voiceover career. So the first one is just getting yourself up to speed with the performance. And some people really do ignore this bit, and it's the most fundamental element of voiceovers, is being able to read a script, being able to take some words on a page and bring them to life, get them off the page. Your aim is to make it sound like you're not reading. So if you can do that, if you can pick up some words, read them, but to the listener, it doesn't sound like you're reading them. It sounds like you're talking to them on a one-to-one basis. If you can do that, then you're basically doing a voiceover. That's what it is. That's really what it is. Okay, you've got the more voice acting side, which is about characterization. But even if you're getting into pure voice acting for animation, video games and things like that, you've still got to be able to read the script. So being able to read fluently and not being daunted by words, but being able to take control of them, not being bullied by those words, and making it sound like those words are yours is fundamental to what we do as voiceover artists. And you've got to learn how to do that. So the more you read out loud, then the better that will be. And that is your core skill, if you like, as a voiceover artist. So that's number one. That's what you've got to start with. And then moving on to the next element is the microphone. And we use a very specialist kind of mic called a condenser. And this is a condenser. This is a USB one. It's plug and play. This is right at the bottom end. There's a cheap and cheerful one that I use for my videos. I've also done voiceover work with this particular mic as well. And you can spend huge amounts of money, if you want to, on voiceover microphones. You could spend thousands, but it's no good spending lots and lots of money if you're going to record in an echoey room. And so that means sort of deadening the sound around your microphone. So you want a condenser mic, you can go for a USB condenser, or you can go for an XLR one. But the main thing is you get a condenser mic. And the other main, although I'm going to interrupt myself here, in fact, you can end up with a dynamic mic, and there are some dynamic mics which are very good, and they've got very narrow pickup fields, so they minimize the room echo. But in the main, I would recommend a condenser mic, USB, good quality USB one, or if you can, if your budget will stretch to it, then you want to go for an XLR one, and that means still a condenser mic, but you'll need an interface, an analog to digital converter, and an interface that will power your mic, basically with what we call 48 volts of phantom power. So recording from home, make sure you have lots of blankets and duvets and so on all around the microphone area to deaden that sound. And that's your next step. So that's number 2. And then number 3, getting your... Oh, just going back to number 2, sorry, interrupting myself again. Going back to the recording software, I say going back to, I don't think I even spoke about it, but I would use something like Audacity. And Audacity is free of charge. It's a great download. They've just got a newish version of it. It's incredibly powerful. And it's free. It won't cost you a penny. So having Audacity is a wonderful way to get started. That's your software, your DAW. You'll sometimes see it referred to as a DAW, DAW, and that stands for Digital Audio Workstation. Basically, it's just the software that you're using. So go and grab yourself the download, free download. Works on Windows, works on a Mac, on everything really. So that'll be your recording and editing software. So learn how to use that. Just hit the microphone again, as I must stop doing that, so don't do that. And if you are going to wave your hands around, make sure you're clear of the mic. Have plenty of clearance there. So anyway, recording from home, really important. And then the other thing to think about is the marketing. How are you going to get people to book you? How are you going to get employers interested in you, voiceover employers? And I use the term voiceover employers, but actually, when we think about it in real terms, you are selling your voice to customers. So they're not your employers really, they are your clients. And it's always good to think of them like that. So you're running a business, and too many people end up not running a business. They end up just waiting for someone to employ them. And that's not the way it works. So there's a very important mindset, which is that you need to be a seller. You are a vendor. You are selling your voice to prospective clients. And you need to run a business. So you need to get your finances in order. If you're rubbish at finances, and you struggle with your own finances, you're spending no matter how much you earn, if you're spending more than you're earning and so on, well, you've got to think, hang on a minute, if I'm running a business, I need to get a grip on those. I don't want to spend too much money. If I'm overspending on the microphone or whatever, it's going to take me a lot of time to get that return on investment. So you need to plan your return on investment. And you need to think about how you're going to get the work, and that's the marketing side. And you can use lots of sites that are around at the moment, lots of free sites. There's Fiverr, People Per Hour, Voquant, quite a few of these sites around. Or if you've got some money to spend and it's worth investing a little bit of money, I think, in the marketing. You can use one of the pay-to-play sites like Mandy.com, Voice123, Voices.com, and so on. And those sites allow you to access potential clients and vice versa, for the clients to access you. So it's those three things. The reason I wanted to do this primer was basically to say, look, this is how you get into voiceovers. It's not an in-depth expose on the whole industry or anything like that. I've got, like I say, 200 odd videos that you can look through and pick through those and pick up various tips and tricks about performance and recording and so on. But the three things you need to bear in mind are performance, your delivery, making sure that it sounds great, and it's also your recording, getting set up with a recording studio, but basically it's a very simple system setup of microphone and blankets or duvets. And then the third element is the business side. It's the marketing and getting that work. So those are the three things. You're all set up, and there's no excuse really. All right, well, thanks very much for watching this primer. Look after your voice, and see you next time.